Get your stinking Xhekaj out of the Pacific Division, you darn dirty ape! Okay, that sounded a lot better in my head, doing the old Planet of the Apes thing, but that just sounded really wrong, so I'm gonna take that back and restart this video. Let's talk today about Montreal Canadiens defenseman Arber Xhekaj, a guy whom I absolutely would hate to see suit up in the Pacific Division, because today we're talking about Xhekaj and the latest on Calgary Flames related trade talk, and whether or not Xhekaj could be finding himself in the province of Alberta. You see, we've been making a bunch of videos talking about the Canadiens and their decor. They've got a lot of guys that can suit up on the blue line, both on the regular NHL team and on their Laval Rocket roster. Just take a look at it right here. There are 9 defensemen that could reasonably suit up in NHL games for the Habs. Between Carrier, Dobson, Engstrom, Gooley, Hudson, Matheson, Reinbacher, Struble, and Xhekaj. And then you talk about all the other names in the system that may be, at some point, able to challenge for a spot too. Maximilian Zuber just got signed. Bryce Pickford is a really hot prospect. Owen Protz is the most violent prospect in hockey. Bogdan Konyushkov had a lot of hype around him as well. Not saying that any of these guys are guaranteed to being 82-game NHL players in the grand old year of 2026, but with the amount of guys that are projected to being NHL options, obviously Arber Xhekaj's job is not that secure, especially when you look at the way Kent Hughes and Marty St. Louis have treated this guy over the past few months. This is why, when we read what was talked about on the Montreal Gazette a few days ago, Herb Zurkowsky has a really interesting update on Arber Xhekaj. A source recently revealed the Calgary Flames' interest in Xhekaj last season at the trade deadline. And this summer, the Flames and the Flyers have been linked to the Montreal fan favorite. Now, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about the Calgary Flames and their willingness to actually go for it in trade discussions. Now, you can look at their roster and say, hey, wait a minute, the Calgary Flames are not really all too great. Who's saying that they're going for it this year, Lego? And that's a totally fair thing to go out there and bring up. The quality of this roster might not necessarily scream a team that is going for it, but there was a very particular trade for a very particular young defenseman that I think signals enough of that going for it that you could be looking out for. Simon Nemec was acquired by the Calgary Flames in a trade earlier this offseason for a draft pick. By the way, look at that, eh? Videos. Why I want. Simon Nemec is indeed listed on Elite Prospects and their video guide. Thank you for that. For the acknowledgement here from the Elite Prospects crew. Simon Nemec is not the youngest guy out there anymore. He's 22 years old, but the fact that the Calgary Flames traded a first-round pick for a guy who is 22 indicates that they are, in some form or another, willing to sacrifice their long-term assets for players that are helpful in the now. The Nemec trade indicates that the Flames are, in some capacity, trying to accelerate this rebuild, and Arber Xhekaj, hey, guess what? This is a player that could definitely add more value to your team in the now if you just give him the games and you give him the proper role. Xhekaj is 25 years old. Everybody knows what he's about. 6'4", 240. He's a big dude. Didn't play for the Canadiens in the third round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. But really, it's not like he was going to make a difference. Let's be real here. So hearing that the Calgary Flames apparently are interested in Arber Xhekaj, I think it does align with the moves that they have been doing this offseason as well. However, it should be noted that even though Xhekaj has been linked to the Calgary Flames in these trade talks, there is still some reasonable doubt that was posted about too. Anthony DeMarco, contributor on Daily Faceoff and on TSN 690, went out there and said this, per sources, while the Calgary Flames had previously shown interest in Xhekaj, they no longer see him as a fit after acquiring Jake Middleton from the Minnesota Wild. This was in response to Daily Faceoff's report from a few days ago, saying that the Flames are reportedly interested in acquiring Arber Xhekaj from the Habs. And when you think about the acquisition of Jake Middleton, this does make sense as well. A D-man in, a D-man out, and when you get yourselves enough D-men to fill out your roster, you just kind of don't need any more. The Canadiens are dealing with this in their own right with the 9 defenseman rotation they've got. But Jacob Middleton is more of a veteran than Arber Xhekaj is. He's a little smaller, but he's also a little more stable, and he produces a hell of a lot more points. I do question just if Middleton will be able to fulfill an Arber Xhekaj-esque role on the Calgary Flames. I mean, yeah, he stands up for his guys, he takes penalties, he dishes out hits, but Arber Xhekaj just kind of does that more. And I do think that if you had both of these guys, Middleton and Xhekaj, not only are you getting a player who is just generally a better player in Middleton, but you're getting that more fierce, more menacing presence on your blue line spread across 2 pairs. So I do wonder if Jacob Middleton is there, can you still add an Arber Xhekaj? Even though Anthony DeMarco's sources are saying that the Flames are maybe not as interested anymore because of the Middleton acquisition? Just quote me next time, lil bro. And, okay, that is a really interesting graphic there. Obviously made by Grok, but, still. Could we see a Sheriff transitioning from Montreal over to Calgary? That's a really funny graphic. I'm sure there's teams other than the Flames who are interested in Xhekaj. He is a rare breed in the NHL. Hanley and a 5th-round pick for Xhekaj, you'll see. Kent Hughes was asking for Coronado, Carels, Gradine, and Ethan in exchange for Arber. Any interest from the Flyers? Well, it's been reported that the Flyers have been super interested in Xhekaj over the past year, it seems, and we've been making a bunch of videos about that. I do find it interesting, though, the fact that Xhekaj still is unsigned, at this time at least, by the Montreal Canadiens, yet trade rumors are still running rampant. We are still seeing all these conversations on teams that want toughness, that want grit. If the Calgary Flames want to toughen up their blue line, yeah, Jacob Middleton's going to do that, but you could also get Xhekaj. I don't really see the need to back away unless you fully think that all of these guys are more capable NHL defensemen than Arber. Which, to be honest, that might be true. Except for Hanley. I don't know. That guy's 35 years old. What the hell? Hanley is 35? That's crazy. That just did not even register to me. Wow, it felt like yesterday that guy was a Montreal Canadien. Oh my gosh, it wasn't yesterday, it was a decade ago. Ay, ay, ay. Time's moving by way too quickly, my friends. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about the Calgary Flames getting in on Arber Xhekaj? Do you think there's a trade to be had? What do you think the Canadiens could get if the trade trees decide to grow in this way? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.